Greetings and welcome to The End. Last week, this week, and next week, the podcast companion to The End, the weekly newsletter that shines a light back on audio fiction shows after they've reached the finale of a season or the conclusion of the series. I am your host and the curator of The End, Evo Terra. Let's get into it, shall we?
Last week.
The most recent issue of The End, the 44th, highlighted 5 shows in the season finales and finished series section, and 2 of them wrapped within the last few days. Pat Novak for Hire 2023, a dramatized noir series from Vin Montello, has reached the end of the first season. It's only 5 episodes long, and will give you just over 2.5 hours of entertainment. The Boar Knight, a dramatized fantasy tale from Fool and Scholar Productions, is now complete. All 15 episodes are available right now and can be enjoyed in about 5.5 hours. And don't forget that trailers or snippets of audio from these shows are placed at the very end of this audio file, so keep listening.
This week.
With every issue, I make 2 personal recommendations for great audio fiction I personally love. As with all things in life, your mileage may vary. But up first is Rebel Robin, Surviving Hawkins, a dramatized fictional spin-off from Atypical Artists and Netflix. Yep, Netflix. And yes, Hawkins, as in the town from Stranger Things. If you love Stranger Things because you loved the characters, you're going to love this quick hit. Here's the trailer.
What do you think happened to him?
I don't know.
But you're worried about it happening to someone else.
Even small towns have their teeth.
The Hawkins monster. You see it too, don't you? The way this place can be. The way it eats people up. That's why the camouflage is so important, because it's always lurking in the shadows, waiting to snap its jaws.
The way you talk about it, it sounds like a literal monster.
Sometimes it feels like it is. And I think you know that, don't you? You wouldn't be worried about me if you didn't.
This summer comes the first Stranger Things fiction podcast. And a monster you didn't see coming. Hawkins High. Surviving Hawkins, a 6-part companion podcast to the Robin prequel novel, Rebel Robin, starring Maya Hawke and Sean Maher, premieres June 29th. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Rebel Robin, Surviving Hawkins, is a complete show that you will enjoy in about 2 hours. My next recommendation is for Spire, a dramatized sci-fi tale from Matt Wilson. If you need your reality questioned, dive into this one. Check out the trailer.
So I shall suppose that some malicious, powerful, cunning demon has done all he can to deceive me. I shall think that the sky, the air, the earth, colors, shapes, sounds, and all external things are merely dreams.
I've been having these reoccurring dreams, more clear in my mind than any foggy childhood memory.
Do you remember what to do when you get in there?
I was just supposed to find someone to swap with.
Malachi Ezekiel, correct?
Then I make a friend.
Noah? My name is Noah.
I learned as much as I can about their life.
One of the 13 who just died.
Their habits. Their family.
It's just been a while.
Who they are.
Dad wants me to replace the member of the 13 who just died.
And I report back.
Good.
Are you sure this is a good idea? There's nothing else going on up there?
Nothing.
I'm not going to sit around and wait while she's out there stealing my life from me.
I will do anything, and I mean anything, to keep her safe.
But I think it's wrong. This is someone's life you're messing with.
What proof do you have that he's actually on your side?
God! Noah, I thought you'd be on my side about this.
In my dream, I'm standing in a field of flowers. And this field just goes on.
You're standing in front of the mirror. Everything else around you is darkness.
I always find myself walking. I don't remember how or why, but I always end up walking through this field of flowers, and I always come across a girl.
You walk forward.
I always notice her before she notices me, but she always does. She always looks down at me from across the field, and it's then that I notice she looks like me.
You walk forward through the infinite maze of yourself,
and she always looks at me for a really long time. And then she says, Noah, have you ever wondered why you're here?
Who are you? Who are you?
Who are you? Why are you here?
Spire has reached the end of the first season. Give yourself a little over 9 hours to listen to the 13 episodes of Season 1. Season 2 is slated for December of this year.
Next week.
The latest issue of The End has only one entry in the new season's coming soon section, and it doesn't start within the proscribed next week timeframe. So I'll once again ask that you consider supporting The End. A small number of readers and creative shops have done so, and I hope you'll consider joining their ranks. It's quite affordable and helps offset some of the costs of maintaining this podcast and the newsletter each and every week. Go to TheEnd.fyi/support, and I'll say nice things about you in a future episode. And that's all for this episode of The End last week, this week, and next week. For these and the other audio fiction shows featured, highlighted, and coming soon that were included in the 44th issue of The End, including links to listen to the shows mentioned in this episode, please visit TheEnd.fyi. I'm Evo Terra. Thanks for listening. And 2 more trailers for you. Pat Novak for Hire 2023.
Yeah, I'm Pat Novak for Hire. At least that's what the sign up in front of my office says. What do? A little bit of everything. I'm not a PI, but I'll investigate for a price. I'm not a bodyguard, but for a few bucks I'll keep my eye on the right body. And I'm not a killer, but for rent money I could be persuaded to impersonate one. Sure, sometimes I bite off more than I can chew, but here on the waterfront in San Francisco, everyone bites hard. It's tough on your chompers, sure, but at least you don't go hungry. So Wednesday night, about 9 o'clock, I closed shop early and settled in to read some cheesy Nicholas Sparks novel. That wasn't a bad book, if you need kindling. Well, I was suddenly safe from my own boredom when the door to my apartment flew open. The place began to get crowded when she sauntered in, moving slowly from side to side like 110 pounds of warm smoke. Her voice was all right, too. Reminded me of a furnace full of marshmallows and filterless smokes.
Good evening.
Yeah, thanks for knocking.
I don't think you'll mind my coming in without a warning.
No, I get the kimchi smell from next door the same way. So what's on your mind?
That bottle in front of you. You gonna pour me a drink?
No, I'm a bartender you can't afford, sister.
All right. I came for you instead of your whiskey anyway.
I like my movies chock full of action, so cut to the chase.
Okay. My name is Lee Underwood. I'll give you $300 to do something for me. It'll only take an hour.
That's too much dough unless it's murder. And if it is murder, it's not nearly enough dough.
If it were murder, I'd do it myself. Miss Novak, I want you to frighten someone for me. A horrible little man named Dixie Gilliam. You'll find him in an office down on Folsom Street at this address. I promise, it'll be easy.
That's what they told me when I joined TikTok. 2 dances later and the jury's still out.
He'll be in his office until 11 tonight. I want you to go in and see him. Tell him Adrian sent you and that he needs to get out of town by tomorrow noon.
And suppose he wants a late checkout?
He won't. But don't let him know who hired you. Just tell him Adrian said to leave.
Yeah, $300 ain't worth all this mystery. Tell me more or say goodbye.
Pat Novak for Hire 2023, a dramatized noir series from Vin Montello, has reached the end of the first season. The Boar Knight.
Trotting through the trees, saving lives with great ease. He's the hero we need. Friendship and daring, here comes the Boar Knight now. Which adventures beckon, never fear we will win. Noble new tales spin. Friendship and daring, music and caring, now the fight. Here comes the Boar Knight.
The Boar Knight, a fantasy musical for all ages. The newest story by Fool and Scholar Productions.
The Boar Knight, a dramatized fantasy tale from Fool and Scholar Productions, has reached the conclusion of the entire series. That's it for the trailers. Once again, I'm Evo Terra for The End. Cheers!